Hi, I'm going to record another update. Right now I'm in my plaid mouse setup, um, but I am just doing this as a little lead up to showing that I fixed the problems on the critter. This is actually my second time recording this, so it's not spontaneous. The first time I had forgotten to check my audio settings, so it was no sound, so oh well. So let's just pretend. So as you can see, the eyes are fixed. The problem was that I had eye tracking set up in the avatar, which normally wouldn't be an issue, but VRChat, for whatever reason, if you have eye tracking set up, it also moves the eyes physically to match where it thinks human eyes would be, which is silly, and as far as I can tell, there's no way to turn that off. So I just disabled eye tracking, which is fine because my headset doesn't support eye tracking anyway, and I don't plan on getting an eye tracking capable headset anytime soon. So that was an easy fix. Look at my tail, it still works really well. It's so perfect. But unfortunately, I still haven't figured out what's going on with the hands. Some poses are correct, others aren't. Even when the ones are correct, like there's still some like really wonky stuff going on with like how the thumb joins, and that's not how it is in the model. If I if I pose the mesh in Blender, it looks totally fine. If I pose the mesh in Unity, it looks totally fine. So something on the VRChat side is just like really messing up how finger tracking works. I suspect it has something to do with how avatar mappings work, like with the IK engine. Unfortunately, no one seems to know the answer to how to fix that. Like how to actually like tell it, hey, here is where things should be in the physical space, like how to map the bones. Basically, there doesn't seem to be any way of actually like adjusting the mapping between avatar poses and the armature poses. And I suspect that what they really want you to do is to model your thing around the avatar armature, which is awful because that like requires you to have a very specific body shape. An observation that many of my friends have had is that most VRChat avatars all fit the same body plan, with like incredibly like anorexic Barbie doll proportions. And I suspect that maybe this is something that people have converged on not because of a stylistic choice, but because that's the only way to get the armatures to line up well enough while having a vaguely furry body shape. I still have hopes that I'm able to actually lay things out the way I want them to be, because I am not a skinny bitch. I am not gonna be a skinny bitch. Yeah. So anyway, I do want to talk a bit more about some of the stuff going on in the avatar. So I forgot to set my skin mask to include the back of the ears. That's easy enough to fix. So you can see like this black seam around the ears. It's actually really dark blue, but that's irrelevant. So that's just part of my texturing workflow. What I like to do is, instead of using Substance Painter, which I find really difficult to work with, and instead of just using like the plain texture paint stuff in Blender, which is incredibly limited, what I like to do is I use texture paint in Blender to produce masks that I then load into layers in Photoshop. So I'll probably like make a blog entry about that, or maybe a video, except videos are kind of a lot of work for really annoying things. But I wish more documentation online were in text with pictures. So I'm going to practice what I preach on that, I think. But anyway, so what I do is I make mask layers in texture paint, and then I load those into Photoshop, and then I can use the select alpha, which is command click on Mac, which I think is Alt or Control click on Windows, where you can just load up that selection real quickly. Then you can use that to apply a mask or have a reference for where to paint stuff. It works really well for solid colors. For patterns, it gets a little more complicated. So another thing I do is I export the UV layout from Blender into Photoshop, like as another layer that I lay on top. And so then that gives me a reference for where to paint stuff. So for example, the tummy and chest here, Like I could tell where my sternum was based on the polygon lines in the UVs. And then also, if I need another quick reference, what I can do is I can load the UV map into Unity as my texture to get like another reference, and I can just like count the number of lines. And my UV map is generated based on the subdivision surface rather than the polygon mesh, so it's a little bit off, but it's close enough. And also, it's easier to keep track of because polygon meshes are way denser, so it's a lot harder to like actually like do stuff. So when I textured this mouse to be plaid, when it loads up, so when it's wearing clothes, it looks totally fine. There's a little weirdness around the wrists, but hold on. Sorry, my computer, my AV receiver went into standby mode, which made my computer lag for a little bit. It's complicated and dumb, but anyway, so like there's some defects around the wrist, just where it's not quite precise enough, and then if I take my clothes off here, let's see if I, take off my clothes. So like, there's like a lot of weirdness around the shoulders and stuff, and that's just because it's a pain in the butt to like do it all manually. So now that I know how to use texture paint in Blender, what I'll probably do is I'll use texture paint mode to like draw like some reference lines for like where the plaid should go on the body. And then I can load that in as a reference layer into Photoshop, and then use that to texture the rest of the body. But this mouse is pretty cute though. I like it. I've spent a lot of time as a plaid mouse with horns, and I've definitely learned a lot from looking at this avatar, how it's all put together, both in Blender and in Unity. But it would be really nice to have my actual persona as I designed it over the years as my oh, I can zoom out on this camera. Hold a sec. Zoom out. There we go. Okay. That's better. Yeah, so let's see, let me go back to one sec. I should set this camera to also show my UI. Where? Hold a sec. Filters, mask. Here we go. So here now. Now when I bring up my UI, you can see it. So now you can see what I'm doing. I should remember to do that in the future, but it's too late for this video. But yeah, that's okay. Actually, I want to zoom back out a little bit. Or zoom back in, I mean, that lens angle was a little wide. Okay. So yeah, so there's still, I still haven't tweaked the arm IK, aside from, changing the armature a little bit, which seems to have helped a lot anyway. I think this isn't too bad, actually. I don't think I really need to tweak the arm IK after all. The thumbs are just so weird that the thumbs are doing this, because like, let's see, so like the base of the thumb lines up with my physical thumb base. And the wrist actually isn't too far off from the real wrist. Let's see, I guess okay, so... I think I just need to move the thumb back a little bit, maybe, in the mesh. Or maybe just move the armature point forward, I think. That might do it. Well, anyway, there's things I can experiment with. But meanwhile, I've got my little name tag, and it's got physics on it. Works really well. Does it dangle forward? It should dangle forward. It doesn't seem to be well, whatever. I can adjust that. The fizz bones need some work, I guess. Yeah, let's see. I'm getting pretty happy with that. How I'm making progress here. Yeah, still some stuff to do. There's always stuff to do. As my manager at Ubisoft said, there is always something to work on. Also, if I lock Oh, that's not what I want. One sec, I wanted to... Ah! I can't... I locked my camera, and now I can't move it at all. That's unfortunate. I accidentally embedded it in the wall, and I can't get to it now. Oh, there we go. Oh! No, no, no. There we go. Okay. Now I can move it. Okay. That was just my camera view there. Let's see. I want to... One sec. Anchor to the world. Move this back here. And now I can walk back here. Oop. Maybe I set this to... Look at me, smoothed. Okay. Boink. Hello. Let's see my tail doing its thing. And, yeah. Do a little dance. Yeah, no, this is feeling really good. I am very happy. I mean, aside from yesterday's frustrating setback, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Yeah, muzzle shape is looking pretty good. I'm glad I scooped it down a bit and made the eyes bigger. That's made a huge difference to how it all fits together. Maybe the jowls could be a little smoother, a little sharper, or whatever. Have a bit more chin definition. Get that out of the way. But yeah. I mean, there's small tweaks left to do, and there's texturing, I think, and figuring out how to do the material system the way I want it, which is like, so basically I'm using the standard Unity shader for now. I might make a custom shader that does exactly the parts I want of it, but like what I'm doing, my plan is to have, oh, let me move this back down here. My plan is to have it so that I can set up colors separate from materials. And materials are made up of a normal map and a metallicity / specular map. And those are easily swapped in the Unity standard PBR shader. A lot of people use Poyomi. I'm not a big fan of it. It's very heavyweight, and also it requires you to lock the shader, which, like, it helps performance, but it also limits what you can do in real time with it. Like, you can still animate some parameters, but I don't think it lets you swap out like the textures, which are necessary for doing the things. So one thing I was kind of planning on doing at some point was make a custom shader where rather than it being like colorations directly being swapped out, instead I would have like a pigment mask and then like multiple pigments that I can select in real time. So I'd be able to choose I can choose plaid pigmentation and then select red or purple or whatever. And then similarly, when I have stripy colors or whatever, then I could have the pigment mask affecting the colors that go through. And that would require a custom shader. It would be pretty straightforward to do. I've done a lot of shader work in the past. I used to be a graphics programmer professionally. I've done a lot with Unity shaders, with especially mobile stuff. So obviously VRChat for Quest, it's fixed on the VRChat mobile shader. I can't really do anything about that. So that'll just be stuck with a single setup, but that's fine. I mean, Quest users are used to having a limited experience anyway. Right now, actually, I did do I baked out a version for Quest of this avatar, and for whatever reason, so I use a tool called PolyTool, which does all the automatic decimation and everything. And for some reason, the material is not coming through correctly. I've made the material by hand specific for Quest, and what ends up happening is all of the texture coordinates. I think it's the texture coordinates because that's the only thing that makes sense. Basically, most of the body appears completely black, which you would think is a lighting thing, except it's still getting specular. So lighting is still coming through. And the normals are still coming through, otherwise the lighting wouldn't come through. But for whatever reason, just the whole surface is black. And I've made sure that I'm using the correct like the correct texture, correct material, and everything. I can't show you what it looks like on here because there's no way to force the Quest version, because that's, Unity's weird about cross-platform support in the first place. But what I would really like to do is have some way of like figuring out what's going on with the Quest version, so that I can like at least have an expectation of things looking okay-ish. Now that said, right now on Quest it looks like a hole in space, and I might just lean into that and just like be completely Vanta Black on Quest. And I was definitely planning on having a Vanta Black version. Oh, hey, Aldrinor. I'm recording a vlog for YouTube, so just like showing my current avatar stuff. So you can come on if you want. You're shy. Okay. Oh, hey. This is Aldrinor. Yeah, I forgot that I had this set to like auto join accepted, so whatever. But anyway, I guess that's it for now. See you later.